Recording computer. All right, we're good.
It's
Oh,
working.
3, 2, 1, and we are recording on Tuesday, December 12th, 2023 at 11:49 a.m. Eastern Time. And selfish plug, the podcast is 4 years old today. So we got 4 years of the podcast, 1,390 something episodes. And oh my God, what is this? Is the podcast sponsored by a coffee company? Yeah, it is. Fox and Sons Coffee. The link to that's in the description. Promo code Tommy, 10% off. Same with the wellness company for all your supplements, 10% off. I think it's 10% off. Promo code Tommy. It's something. George is drinking something out of a saucer. Is it coffee? I don't know. Is it sponsor? Is it the coffee that sponsors me? Probably unethical for me to say so because George is in Lebanon and I have been sponsored by this company for like a week, but I don't give a shit. I'll lie. It's my show. I can do whatever I want. George's been on here a couple times before. Uh, Go in the description. You can find where is it? So we got your LinkedIn, your website, and your Twitter, but your Rumble. I'm your first subscriber. The link to that, I'm gonna actually put that in the comments too. Guys, go subscribe to George. Don't be a dirty communist. Go give the man some love. He uploads 2-minute videos. He is knowledgeable. He's beautiful. George is also a male model. A lot of people don't know that. It's pretty obvious though. And
Yeah, specialized with the hair.
it's no, you get the hair. It really is, and it's he does my show on the side, mainly does photo shoots, and I yearn to one day have his stature. But I'm gonna post a live link, and George is gonna introduce himself. And today we're talking about COP28 and what you called the term, I believe you coined it, carbon colonialism. But I'm gonna post the live link.
I
Please introduce
stole
yourself.
it.
You stole it?
I
Whatever. Who
stole
gives
the
a shit?
carbon colonism.
Yeah,
But
who
yeah, we're gonna
cares?
borrow it. It's being used for many uses. My name is George. My background is in engineering. I did a doctorate in engineering, and I teach here on sustainability and civil engineering. And I've been doing some advising with the all the climate change negotiations on the side. Aside of being a hair model, that's what you said, and a coffee aficionado. Yeah. So when I was talking to Tommy about carbon colonialism, it's a term that's being used. It has two forms, at least. One of them is because of all the regulations in Europe. So what happens is a lot of companies they tend to export their carbon intensive products production outside Europe, for example, or
Okay.
outside the United States. So wherever you're pricing carbon, uh, big companies will game the system and export part of their production outside, so they're not taxed. They go to countries where you're not taxing carbon. In a way, that's why you have a lot of work going to China and India because they don't have the same regulations environmentally as you have in the US. But this is everybody kind of knows it. This is the most obvious part. The least obvious part is related to the structure of the market, and in my opinion, it may explain why there's so much push to all this demonstration to just stop oil. And I think it's, in my view, things emerge from like systems emerge, behaviors emerge from the systems, from the interactions of those complex systems. So it doesn't have to have no need for a conspiracy behind it. It's more like aligned interests together. If you look at the world, the big blocks in the world today, you see there's the biggest exporter in the world in goods and manufacturing is China. Energy exporters, you have the Arab region and Russia and the United States. It's a major exporter as well as Canada. US has also still a strong manufacturing base. Now, what does Europe export? What do you think?
What does Europe export? Well, I think Tom Luongo said on here and only the way he can say they export shit. They just export imperialism and financial bullshit. But
All right,
I
he's
but
giving another term for regulations.
but that okay, yeah, that's what he's yeah, no, if I had to think of it, I mean, I don't know. I mean,
That's
right?
it.
It's I know France made the Airbus A380. That's a giant plane. That's like the newest plane. I mean, doesn't Germany have Rheinmetall? That's a defense contractor.
They
But
do,
I'm
yeah.
kind of coming up short. I would imagine finance.
Same here. It's mostly regulations. They had laws for insurance. They have those financial regulations. behind a lot of those electronic tools we see. You have those symbols that we see that they got regulated.
Mm.
So basically, Europe exports mostly regulations. This is how it evolved now. Because it exports mostly regulations, the system tags on to regulation, to negotiations, anything related to trade. And it's going to tag itself onto it, and it becomes exporting climate regulations. So you're going to end up with this form of carbon colonialism. In a way, you're going to impose on countries those participatory agreements. If you want access to our market, you have to do those kind of tools and technologies. So in a way, countries that need diesel may have to be, they will be forced to invest much more in renewables. It's not bad, but it's not good that they're being forced into it. So what happens is they end up being, in a way, colonialized in a way through those regulations. It's like carbon colonialism. So that's another insidious form of it. I like those. I use those terms. They tend to be shocking, but they always suppose a conspiracy behind them. I don't see it. It's more like a evolution of a system that becomes, well, we don't have anything to sell. So what do we sell? Oh, we sell insurance regulations because we are the biggest reinsurance market. Oh, we're going to sell. That's why Tom Longo, I like his expression, but it's this idea. It's because they have finance, so they export financial regulations. You have to abide by our rules. And you see a split in the world now on those currencies, maybe related to the fact that no, some countries do not want to import those regulations anymore. And as part of the climate negotiations, Europe is trying, naturally, you see trends for just stop oil. How will the Arab, what do you mean by just stop oil? You've seen the discussion between I think it was the previous Irish president and the current president of the Emirati oil company.
No.
And she's telling him, when will you commit to phasing out oil? He goes, what's the alternative? What's your plan? What is the system?
There's
And you
none.
see another bifurcation between two minds. One of them is focused on systems. That's mostly engineers, doctors, even theologians would focus on systems. You want to achieve a certain outcome, you establish and follow a certain system. You want a good body, you go to the gym. That's what you do. You want a good podcast, you keep grinding at it, and you focus on the system.
Sure.
The other mindset, you find it a lot among liberal arts majors, focus on the outcome. We want peace. Okay, let's just decree peace. We want no carbon emissions. Okay, we stop oil.
Yeah. But
And I
what?
feel
Yeah.
this disconnect. And that's what I mean by carbon colonialism. It's not, in a way, it has two elements. One of them is a system, an economic system that tends to export regulations, for lack of a better term. And another is a disconnect between people focused on outcomes, which tend to, you see a lot of those in the administrative world because they don't come from a technical background. Not all of them. They come mostly from liberal arts background, and they're focused on outcomes. And you see this disconnect. You get people like Elon Musk who are systems people who will get you to Mars. And you get the artists who will make Mars enjoyable for us, but they're focused on the outcome. You need both, but when you have too much of one or too much of the other, it doesn't really work.
Mm.
And that's why I mentioned this carbon colonialism. And when I look at this just stop oil, it's like this trend doesn't make sense to me, but I see it fit into this kind of this system. So, what do you think of this idea?
It is accurate in that you kind of want the end thing, right? And it's very easy and it's like self-masturbatory and self-praising to just, we must
Yeah.
get rid of crime and then everyone must have a home. And it's like, sure, I mean, noble idea. But there tends to be a sort of, and I could be speaking out of turn. Obviously, I am because I'm making a broad generalization. But there's almost a self-righteousness with the declaration of what should be. And if they say, everyone should have a home and, no one should go hungry. Well, if you oppose it, and if you're coming from a point of view of saying, like, okay, how do we get there? you're seen as the bad guy. You're
Yeah.
already at the beginning of the race, you're already handicapped because you're going, okay, I, yes, I think everyone should have food and no one should be out in the cold. I agree with you, Bob, art major. How are we going to do that? How are we going to fund it? Now, right from the get go, it's I'm the bad guy because I want to know how we do it, right? And not only that, they kind of have, again, it's an amorphous they, but sort of a, you know, superiority. I think we should all have homes and food. And it's like, listen, man, that's not some novel fucking idea. I also think that we shouldn't have war. I'm with you. That's not a brilliant idea. You're not fucking Copernicus. You didn't just discover something new, all right? You're not making anything. We all now some assholes don't want that. Fuck them. But we all want the same thing. We all want safe neighborhoods. We all want good schools for kids. We all want most people want that, right? But the second you start trying to get from A to B, you're seen as a douchebag who doesn't want anyone to have utopia. But the reality is that's how everything is formed. Now, conversely, you can't just have the systems because we have seen what happens if you run totally in one direction of just systems, right? And it's personally, I think it's kind of badass. I think the Gilded Age was cool, but we do see what happens, when you have to have a Rockefeller, you have to have a Carnegie, you have to have these guys that build build the oil systems, that build the steel systems, that construct the railroads. You don't get there without that. That
Yeah.
is, you have to have them. That being said, you also get to a point where you have, like Irish immigrants, like 11 years old, working 20 hours a day, right? And it's like, okay, well, at a certain point, you're worth $300 billion. You kind of do need the outcome, and I'm with that. You do need it, right? It's Manhattan has all these zoning laws. For every floor a skyscraper goes up, it has to go back a certain percentage, which is why you have things called setbacks, right? The Empire State Building, the actual outline.
Mhm.
What about the World Trade Centers? Those are vertical walls. Well, they have a massive plaza. It's all calculated into it. I love skyscrapers. I love metropolises. I think they're fucking cool. I think that they should all just be a mile tall and straight up. However, if, the few times I've been able to walk around Manhattan, you do start to realize the importance of setbacks because if you don't have it, you only get sunlight for an hour a day, right? So the point of me saying all of this is to oppose the outcomes, to oppose these grandiose ideas isn't necessarily throwing them out and being some evil, I'm an evil billionaire and I want child labor. No, it's just you have to have I want to be a podcaster and I want everyone to like my show. Well, how are we going to get
Yeah.
there? I'm
You
I'm
got grind.
4 years today. It's 4 years today. This is episode 1390. Only in the past like 2 weeks do I have an actual company willing to give me some fucking money if I make a sale? All right. It's difficult. It's depressing. It's a lot of banging your head against the wall and drinking yourself into a stupor and figuring out how the fuck am I going to do this? But eventually you make it. So you do need both. And you do need that. However, if we're going to just throw oil out because we want a better world, what you're really going to have in the interim is less energy density and less of the life that we currently enjoy. You're going to have less air conditioning, less Uber Eats, you're going to have less affordable phones. And then you're going to go, well, what happened? I thought we wanted utopia. And it's the same shit that happens in every fucking communist shithole is you end up eating each other. At best, you eat some potatoes filled with sawdust. So I
It's
don't know.
it's there's a couple of things here. It just remind me, if you like skyscrapers, you'll love Dubai.
I know, I
I
know.
was there
Burj
on a
Khalifa, yeah.
oh yeah,
828 meters.
the
Oh,
I
dude,
was there when all of this. I did some mission, a consulting mission when it was still like they were still building some of those things,
dude, I was
and
watching this.
you
I was like 12,
yeah
skyscrapercity.com. I was watching them. It's like 2004. No, I was 14 when they were like laying the foundation. Most people my age were trying to get laid and smoke pot. I was watching skyscrapers. I was watching the
yeah
foundation being laid like a cool guy.
yeah. I was did a small mission consulting on those when they were still dust and you're like those guys have a vision. There's be
Mm,
something amazing, and just seeing it after you know what it was, you're like, yeah, that's now you have a system and you have a vision, and they have the outcome. So they set the outcome, and I remember this quip. I forgot which one of the leaders there said, "Well, let's build everything. See what something will last, something will remain of it." It's
mm,
like there was nothing but desert. Let's build everything and see
mm.
what remains. So in a way, it's like throw everything. Let's try it. It's a very American attitude, if you want. It's very go get it. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. It's a bit like the Gilded Age. Let's try everything, see what happens, and there's a vision, there's an outcome, and they build a system to get to that outcome. But I think the pushback doesn't come because you're seen as the douchebag. You're seen as the douchebag who will make them work. It's like, oh, I just want to reach that result. Yeah, but you got to earn it. That's why plastic surgery is so popular. It's like, oh, I want to look like this. Fine. You got a 6 months in the gym, 1 year, you'll get there. Oh, no, I'm just going to go liposuction, whatever. And that's what we see with those environmental issues. We want the earth to be utopia, kumbaya, and everything. Well, nature is brutal. So if you want to achieve those results, you are going to work for it, or nature will make you work for it. The lion to eat has to kill. The deer to survive has to kill the lion a little bit every day by running faster and avoiding it. And it's literally a world kill or be killed. And we are the top predators. So if you want to achieve a result and you're not willing to work for it, somebody else is going to come and take your lunch
Mm.
and
This
come with their system.
and what's
So if you
that?
want to just stop oil, others won't,
What's
because they want to stop oil, but they're following a system that will get them to less maybe emissions, to cleaner air. And paradoxically, maybe this will get them to a mixture of oil and nuclear and less coal.
let's use
Maybe.
the excuse me. Where's the Arnold Schwarzenegger quote?
Oh.
Here it
Oh,
is.
by
Yeah,
the way, the Emirates, I think they started a nuclear reactor recently.
good, good,
So they have nuclear power.
and not only
This tells
that,
them they can sell more oil.
not only that, but not only that, but one of the original reasons behind the vision behind, aside from just the gaudy, you know, that general kind of, the alpha mentality that drives mankind forward of like, let's have bigger skyscrapers, let's have a fucking city, let's have Las Vegas on steroids. One of the logics was also A, we will either run out of oil, or B, the world will move off of oil. How are we going to maintain our Gucci lifestyle? Well, you turn an entire city or an entire, country into Las Vegas. And so there you have a city that has on its own is moving off of oil for the logic of what happens when it runs out
Hmm?
without any. But here there is, where did it just go? I just clicked out of it. There's a quote I want to read about, where is it? Well, damn it, I thought I just had it. Um, damn it, it was an Arnold Schwarzenegger quote that was very pertinent about I don't know, about working hard. Here we go. Here we go. A well-built physique is a status symbol. It reflects you worked hard for it. No money can buy it. You cannot borrow it. You cannot inherit it. You cannot steal it. You cannot hold on to it without constant work. It shows discipline. It shows self-respect. It shows patience, work ethic, and passion. That is why I do what I do. Now, obviously, you can be born with genetics like George, or you can just, do a ton of steroids and get plastic surgery.
And
But
that's
even
why they cut
then,
the hair.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. But even with those, there are telltale signs, right? Doing steroids, you get was it like where guys start to develop tits, or you get perpetual varicose veins, or they all look all squiggly and gross and shit. So even if you want a natural physique, you can't cheat your way to it. You can do a lot, but you cannot cheat your way to it, and no one wants that. And that's the thing is it is what it is. Someone's going to take your lunch. You can bitch about it all day long, but that's what it is. And you don't want that easy outcome. And by the time it becomes an easy outcome, let's say we all start to exist in a virtual reality world. Let's just say tomorrow the entire world moves to virtual reality, whatever, right? Everyone, everyone will have the perfect body, the perfect abs, the perfect face. It will no longer be
Somebody will still hack it.
somebody will hack it. But let's say even that doesn't happen. Okay, well, that will be the new baseline. Everyone will be 6'8" with 8-pack
Yeah.
abs. What will be someone will go, well, now we all look the same. So if I want to get some pussy, I gotta be interesting, or I gotta be smart, or I gotta learn how to, I gotta do something that the AI cannot. And then you'll be right back at square zero, where you'll have some people working hard to become an artist. It will always push forward. It will always be that.
Exactly. That's a danger when I see there's a lot of, I don't mean to criticize them, but there's a
I don't
lot of
care.
people, I like to be a nice guy, I see the troubles we have is people being misplaced. We have a joke in Lebanon is that Paradise is a city where the mayor is British. No, the mayor is German, the policeman British, the cook French, and the lover Italian. And hell is a city where the mayor is French, the cook British, the policeman Italian, and the lover German. And that's what we joke Lebanon is, because you
Yeah.
get the right people, but in the wrong places. You have a lot of smart people, but doing the wrong job for them.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, it is part of what we have. It leads to those forms of misplaced regulations, misplaced policies, because we all focus on the outcome that we want. But it's a good intention, but that's what hell paves. This is the road that we get. We get the good intention takes us to hell. But if we only focus on the systems, like you said, then we just get into machines that go by themselves and we don't know where we're going. So we need a mixture of both. And that's unfortunately what we're seeing now is too much talk about outcomes. And this guy wants to stop oil. Well, think about it in a different way. New York, before oil, I'm sure was a city that stunk from the horse manure. And they had problems. I read somewhere that they had to remove 20,000 dead horses every day. So it was basically built on horse slavery. It was horrible and stinky and ugly and dirty. Then comes the car, the clean thing. Well, it's clean. It runs on gasoline, which is much cleaner than horse manure. So now you don't want the car, you want electric. Fine. But you have slave labor mining cobalt and lithium. So you got to reach a balance. You want this outcome, you'll get it through the right system. If you push through the outcome, you're going to get the wrong system in place. And people will game the system, not because they're evil, because they just have to survive. People need to game that system. So now you have the car, you have the side effect is brown haze for coal plants, you have pollution, carbon pollution accumulating the atmosphere, you have the stink from the cars. But if you got rid of that, you'll go back to what? Horses? You need to that's what the discussion as always is fine. I want that outcome. I'm not being the douchebag here. I want to bring the system in, but now the system has to be in place. And now I remember one thing I was reading about the Napoleonic Wars, and they're talking not about he's describing the troops and the army and how they walked, and then they're counting how many cows had to die to bring in the leather for the shoes, how much where did they had to get the lubricants for the artillery wheels, because they had to carry all their chariots. So you have all this system that had to be in place. Nowadays, our society is more than gasoline. All those plastics, everything we touch, we use, is in a way touched by oil. All the colors that we have, you know how Persian rugs, how beautiful they are. They have those beautiful colors. It's because of oil-based colors. The ancient colors were good, but they faded away. The plant-based colors, the oil-based, they last much longer. So just a simple thing, you get oil in it. Your computer is chock full of oil parts. Your electric car is chock full of oil parts, plastics, high-end plastics, all these things. And now you want to make it lighter, so you're going to bring in more oil. Then you have those lubricants. Everything is going to come from this petroleum supply chain. You're going to develop some biomass, but it contains much less polymers, much less of those things that you can produce. You're going to kill more trees for that. That's why the question is, and I keep this video in my mind because this lady is saying, oh, you need to phase out oil. He goes, what? And this gentleman is saying, yes, what system? Well, embedded in his response was, what system do we put in place to replace it? You're going to phase it out, but how? And the other person, oh, just do it. They want the same thing, but one of them has a plan in mind, and the other has just the outcome. And I'm convinced we will never really phase out oil because it is embedded in so many other products. So it's not just gasoline or kerosene. It's not just energy. There's a lot more of our chemicals in there. So it's like coal, it's still around. And some people still use firewood. So one thing doesn't completely go away, but the system comes on top of the other. And now we look at other countries like the Arab world, they're bringing in nuclear power, balancing the system. I'm sure they will go into geothermal because in Saudi Arabia and the southern Hejaz area, there's a lot of volcanoes. So they have a lot of, but they cannot rush the geothermal because then they don't want to create earthquakes. Because when you inject, then you lubricate those faults. So these are countries trying to develop systems to use less oil. And they are the top oil producers. And you have other countries who focus on regulations, so they only focus on outcomes. There will be an adjustment at some point. But it's interesting how I see the dialogue going. Like you have two different people approaching it from different angles. And the discussion is being framed mostly by people who are outcome focused. And less of them are systems focused who are talking about it because they're focused on building those systems actually. It's like Elon Musk, he doesn't have a PR department. He's his own PR machine, but he's an exception. He got the system and he's selling the system. Yeah. So it's a, but that's why that's why we get things like carbon colonialism. It becomes resented and creates trouble, but it starts from good intentions, unfortunately. If it were a conspiracy, it would be easier to defeat.
Ultimately,
When you have do-gooders, it's harder to defeat.
well, ultimately, this is a vanity project. It's a luxury product that, if not
Yeah,
checked or corrected, is a symptom of a dying empire. And that if you are to
that could
dictate,
be.
if you, the consumer, are going to dictate to the producer of oil what they are to do with it, that is because your life in your society has become so comfortable that you can toy with these ideas. And not only that, but you won't pick up nuclear power because you think it's detrimental to the environment, which it is if you fuck it up. But which one do you want more? So if we want, you know, if you want no oil and no nuclear, then what you really want is it's a death cult and you don't want any humans around. We save the earth, but you'd have no humans to enjoy the saved earth. And as George Carlin said, the earth is fine. We're we ain't saving shit. The planet is fine. It's 4 billion years old. It's 24,000 miles across. We're not doing anything to it. But if you want this world, or eventually what you're going to happen is you're going to have some oil rich company just nodding and saying, yeah, sure, we're going to pay lip service to you until they start building nuclear reactors and they have their oil too. And then they have all this energy. And then all of a sudden they're going to use their wealth and they're going to start building a giant fucking military. And then one day they're just going to tell you to fuck off because that's what it's going to be.
Well, they don't need to because you're not the only customer.
Yeah.
And they don't need to build a giant military. There's many more countries in the world than just this gilded minority who's just talking out of their mouth. It doesn't have to be the end of an empire, but it's you just reminded something about nuclear.
Well, it's,
Nature is not just fine. Nature invented nuclear reactors before we did
yeah, the African one.
in Goma, Zaire.
Yeah.
in Goma, not Zaire, in Goma, Niger.
Yeah, it's that cave.
You know,
That's a
the old
natural
ones.
reactor. Yeah.
Yeah, so nature did everything.
Yeah.
All you have to do is look at nature. We can learn all these things. But if we think we reinvent everything or want to save the earth, who are we? And I notice, basically some people just like, maybe I should follow Arnold's example and start pumping iron, pushing up more push-ups. That's what you do. You focus on, that's it. You focus on you're improving yourself and the ones around you. The world will take care of itself.
And that's what I was gonna say. That was kind of my end goal, or not my end goal, my end point of all of this was ultimately it comes down to this is you're going to eventually just you're going to stop arguing with people because that's one thing you realize is the more you try to argue with people and convince people. I remember right after I got into medical school, I was trying to argue with my we had all just graduated college and I was like, "Wait, what if we tried to build a life where, we can do whatever we want and still make money?" And I did that for years and I finally look back at that and I'm a fucking retard. I'm like, "What a waste of time." Instead, I just put my head down and it's been, I graduated college 10 in 4 days, it will be 10 years, or in 3 days, it will be 10 years. I stopped wasting time and just went and got it on my own, which is what I'm doing now. Eventually, you have to just look after yourself. So, what they're going to do is they're gonna argue with like Ireland or United States and be like, well, we can't do that. What system are we going to move off of? Eventually, they're just going to start nodding and smiling and saying, yeah, good idea. And they're either not going to do it or they're just going to build a nuclear reactor or a series of them and not show you them because what people really want, and you can see it with electric cars, and I'm not opposed to electric cars, I don't care, is what they really want is to not see it. They don't want to see the child labor pulling out
Yeah.
cobalt with their bare minds. They don't want to see the Chinese slaves working to death in Foxconn factories to build this. What they want to see is to not see it, and they just want the good. So eventually, someone's going to go, "Oh yeah, this is we have cut down oil by 99%, and you still get your power." They're going to go, "Oh, like a bunch of dumb seals." They're going to clap, and it's going to be because they have some 80 terawatt nuclear reactor buried underground. So what it all comes back to is what you're saying. Eventually, you just start working. There's a great quote: "Watch the pennies, and the dollars will watch themselves." About saving. Same thing with working out.
Yeah.
Same thing with the podcast. Is be consistent, and it will build up. I think the most shows I ever did in
Yeah.
one day was 5, and that was way too much. Most days I do 2. You blink your eyes and you're at 1,390 episodes. Focus on yourself and it will all take care of itself. So stop dictating about what should and shouldn't be and just smile and wave and keep doing what you were doing. And that you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what it is. That's what it's always been.
That's what it took to get a PhD. It just takes hard work. At first, you're like, how am I gonna figure out those courses? How am I gonna figure out those concepts? It's so complicated. I mean, you just sit down, start with the chapter one,
Do what you're doing
and move on
today.
to chapter two, right? Do it day to day and run those examples. And there's a catch. You gotta accumulate the hours. So you've got to accumulate the hours, and it's not like you're gonna study 8 hours a week, 8 hours a day. It's going to be, there are days where you'll end up barely sleeping. And there are days where you just crash and you just have to follow the system. And you're going to reach a point where, oh, it's so obvious.
And you'll look back
And
and wonder how you never figured it out before. It's the same thing with working out. It's the
yeah,
same thing.
and that's why I tell my students, they focus so much on how high would the grade be. I'm like, don't worry about the grade. Just make sure you understand what's in it. And the hardest questions are sometimes the most obvious ones, the simplest ones. It's like, what makes and we still don't know anything. Like, ask yourself a simple question in physics: what's an electron? We still don't quite. We're not quite sure whether a photon is a wave or a particle, and
Particle.
we don't really quite know what a particle is. And same thing with the planet, with the environment. We're focusing now. We're modeling, assuming the sun is a constant energy. However, we don't know whether the sun will go to a solar minima or another maxima and can mess up all our calculations. It's there. You just have to be careful, have a backup for any system that you develop because this system may mess up. So you need a backup plan. You know what survivalists say? Two is one, one is none.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with this. You want to stop oil. Fine. What's your alternative? You have none. So you already start with nothing. And that's the idea. That's why there's more pernicious type. It's this, and you see it in embedded this ideology, outcome focused in countries where they cannot afford to be outcome focused because we emulate the successful people. So we look at the people who are outcome focused, they live in the more successful countries. We forget that they are there because of the people who built the Gilded Age, who built those countries. They are looking at the third generation, the inheritors, who had time and the luxury to talk about this. We
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't copy them. We should look at their grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the grandparent of each doing? Well, they were cramming, they were building systems to make sure their grandkids, they didn't know that their grandkids will end up wasting all those systems, but that's what's happening.
And that's the cycle of
Maybe that's why Europe is going through this cycle of
exactly what it is.
ineptitude. I don't know.
Well, that's exactly what it is, and that's what I meant by kind of like a waning empire is yeah, no, you look at where we are now, and we're bathing in the efforts. What did Terrence McKenna say? Imagination or create invention is the residue of imagination, and that it's a great one.
Mm,
I think it's something like that. He was fucking wild, but that's what builds from is we're bathing in the work of people who are just focused on the system. Carnegie
yeah.
was a I haven't read enough about him. I need to learn about him. But I mean, he worked like several jobs as a kid, and he would just focus how once a week, the local library would allow you to take a book out for a week, and he would focus throughout just working in the darkness. I mean, literally underground and just these mills, and how he would just focus on like the 1 hour a day he had free that he could read. And he would just you find these beautiful quotes from him about like, when I would read, I was free. My mind would go wandering. I would feel all this creativity and wonder and joy and excitement. And all week that would carry me through until I could get to the other side. And that's what pushed him forward. And that's why we have kind of all the Carnegie endowments. But that's something that people
He's
who just,
amazing.
yeah, people who just live in it though, you don't appreciate it. You don't appreciate what you have. You didn't build it. So it's like, you know, whenever I have, I don't know, like I do like a video game stream in the evening. I just play games and, scream at the screen like an idiot, right? And it's fun and my friends hang out. But every once in a while you'll have people come in and kind of get comfortable, but then they'll maybe start, and I'm very, very laissez-faire. I pretty much have two rules: no pedophilia and no inciting violence. Pretty basic rules, right? Both of which
Well,
deserve
there
to
was
be.
already violence in the game, so you're fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 yeah, exactly. No inciting real life violence. No, I'll shoot people all day in the game. Those are the rules. Pretty, pretty broad. And then, sometimes people would violate them. And I get it if it's a joke, you make like an Epstein joke. I get it, sure. But I mean, after a while, I mean, there was one guy months ago who was, I mean, one day he tried to kind of explain the nuances of like pedophilia. And I just remember saying, like, I paused the game, and I never pause the game to talk to chat. I don't care. I don't respect them. But I remember
Mm.
pausing it, and I was like, hey, like, cut it the fuck out. Like, and it's not just because I'm morally, repulsed by it, and I think pedophiles should be burnt alive. It was also that this is on a channel called Tommy's Podcast. It's
Mm.
TPC, which also stands for Thomas Patrick Carrigan. Now, this was several months ago, but let's just say it happened today. Okay. Well, this is 4 years that I've been grinding at this. It's still not profitable. I'm trying my hardest. And that's 4 years. What you didn't see was the 6 years prior after I turned down medical school and built this. So, what I see when somebody kind of jokes around and drags their nuts all over my channel, I look at 10 years of unimaginable frustration and anxiety and panic attacks and living with my parents at age 30 like a fucking loser. And it boils my blood. And other people don't see that. They go, what's Tommy freaking out about? I see the efforts of everything I've put in. So my point is we have people who don't understand how the channel came about, and they're just dictating, you should do an episode about this more and that. I'm like, you don't know what it took to build this. And that's where I'm getting at.
The the Arabs have a concept for it, slightly. It's related to being a guest. So if I'm a guest in your house, I have to, it's not follow your rules, but I have to respect you.
Hmm.
And you, in return, you will treat me like one of your own. There's a word for it. You can't translate it in English, but that's the idea. It's a kind of a two-way relationship.
Hmm.
Once you understand this concept, then you can behave and treat people with respect.
Hmm.
But somebody comes into your system and imposes their system. It's not that they're messing your system, they're also disrespecting you.
Yes.
And it's the worst form of insult.
Yes.
And this
You don't have
this
to agree.
also,
You don't have to, sorry. You don't have to
right?
agree with the
Yeah.
rules. It could be no pedophilia, no inciting violence, and also you're not allowed to mention broccoli. It doesn't matter if you agree with
Yeah.
it.
But these are your system and you have to respect that system.
Correct.
And it works everywhere. You can, that's where also you see those outcome based. I want that outcome, but the other person may see another outcome as an utmost importance to them. So maybe look at what they are looking for. And it's, yes, we're sharing common world, we share a common planet, but the planet will be fine as long as we don't nuke each other with. Even then,
It'll still
some
be fine.
bacteria will survive.
It'll
Oh
be
yeah,
fine.
bacteria will survive and something will live,
It'll be
and
fine.
they will hop on to another world and start panspermia there. Somehow the world universe doesn't care. We have to. I see. We're not even we're custodians, but if we don't care about the world won't care about us.
No.
And if we just focus on simplistic ideas, the world won't have a minute for us. There'll be other species. It's actually odd. You know, we can't even prove if the dinosaurs didn't have an advanced civilization because even their garbage would have been completely recycled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nothing would have rest.
Yeah.
Within 2 million years, everything we built will be gone.
Yeah. Everything.
So, oh, we're gonna save the planet. No, you're not.
It's fine.
You're not barely
But
agreeing.
planet doesn't need saving.
Yes, exactly. You need saving. We
Imagine
need sustaining.
imagine you and I going on a campaign, being like, guys, we gotta everyone needs to start giving us their spare change. We have to make sure Elon Musk doesn't go broke. He'd look at you and be like, what? I'm worth $500 billion. Who the fuck are you? You know? We'd be
Yeah.
like, we put together 30 bucks. We're trying to get to 35 next year. He'd be like, what? I make $10 million an hour. Like, well, I'm fine. Take care of yourself.
Oh, he lost. It's like they say, you're gonna lose Twitter. He's gonna be fine. He can fund Twitter.
Yeah. He bought
Or
he
what will he
bought
lose? $100 billion? $200 billion?
yeah.
He's still top of the food chain. And he's part of the ecosystem,
Yeah.
the government ecosystem in a way. So nobody's gonna touch him.
No, he's
He
embedded
can stay
with the
within.
national security apparatus now with Starlink. No, he's untouched. He's a made
Well,
man. He's royalty.
Starlink is a very important tool. It it's a huge tool, and this is the top of the iceberg that you see. So you're gonna, if he wants to keep Twitter alive, he's gonna keep Twitter alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
They will
You know,
put advertising for Starlink on it. I don't know
yeah.
what they will care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's gonna put it on Starlink. Well, how's he gonna get up there? I don't know, with this private rocket company that's also aren't they the main launcher for the National Reconnaissance Office and the National Geospatial Agency? You know those intelligence agencies that don't get cut but don't get touched by budget cuts or government programs freezing? Yeah, those ones.
Yeah, I remember there's another company that started at some point, but then it stopped for space mining. You're
Uh,
gonna see this coming back very soon.
Helium-3.
I forgot I forgot who it was. So we're moving into space. We're moving into other ventures. Humanity is expanding, and we're moving. We're like Stephen Hawking said, we have to become a multi-planet species or we'll be gone.
Yeah.
It's part of our survival. So the planet will be fine. We will not be around if unless we grow up. And
And
to
I
grow up, we need systems.
and I don't mean to I don't want to devolve, even though I think you and I are probably pretty much eye to eye on this, and I think most people that watch this show are. But even then, I kind of hate rolling around in the political mud because it's all so fucking brain dead. But
Oh, politics will change.
yeah, yeah. But even I just in general, I don't want to. I mean, what's the saying? You know, political opinions are like assholes. Everyone has them. Doesn't mean that they want to see yours. Yeah, yeah, I get it. But in general, they're like, but there's a microcosm of the outcome and versus the system, right? What do we want? And let's just wind the clock back 20 years. Let's just 20 years,
Yes.
remove all emotion. Let's just, what do we want? We got to become a spacefaring species. Man, this internet thing's getting crazy. We'll probably have internet on our phone soon. Probably needs to be in orbit in case it gets taken out by a hostile power. That's also true. Man, we got to get off oil. We just invaded Iraq. What happens if they shut off the oil well? We definitely need electric. Well, we need all this stuff. We need to go to we need to go to Mars. We get and you know what? We got to have free speech because George Bush and Dick Cheney, the Patriot Act, they're up to no good. So what if I don't know? What if we start producing electric cars that were also maybe self-driving, and I don't know, we had some rocket system that landed so that the price of pounds to orbit went down by 100-fold. We put internet in space. We also started maybe going to Mars and and free speech on Twitter because you know everything goes. But now look forward, look what happens because he didn't kiss the ring of the socialist just circle jerk. He is now Hitler. Because Trump's gone. He's now the new orange man. He is the evil, but he's doing everything that everyone could have ever wanted 20 years ago. And look, and that's how you know. Just like global warming and we got to get off oil, the fact that they will not utilize and fully lean into nuclear power is the thing that tells me you're not really serious about it because the solution is there, but you want the thing that makes you feel good. So that's what also tells me that you're not too big on your own grandiose outcome. The idea of self-landing rockets and orbit-based internet and self-driving electric cars and going to another planet because you have it all now, but you don't like him because he laughs at, you know, tranny memes. That's how I know you don't really give a shit. You know, if you really wanted to get into the gym, you really wanted, this is the reason why I don't give out workout advice anymore. Because other than my little brother, no one has ever taken any advice that I've ever given to anyone about just the consistency, the simplicity of how to go to the gym, how to keep it under 20 minutes a day so that you don't fuck up, and how to track your progress through the ups and downs, and how not to get too hard on yourself, and blah, 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 blah. No one, no one cares. No one follows through. You can serve it up. You can tell them everything they need to know to the point where ignorance is no longer a plea, and they still won't fucking do it, which tells me that you're not really serious about the thing. You just like the very act of saying it, of saying evil is bad, guns are bad, and I want to be in shape. That means nothing. And so that it's just, I don't even think the outcome matters. I think people just like talking about the outcome.
There's that. There's also, I would see it another way, is that the system itself is evolving. And what we see those discussions, it's like it's a bit like people having Tourette syndrome. The system now is going through its own Tourette syndrome. You hear those words coming out.
Shit, fuck tits.
Uh, yeah, exactly. So, and in a way, the system is changing, and people with Tourette can cure themselves with some treatments
Sure.
with their own exit. They can by I read some. It's difficult, but it can be
Yeah.
done. And what you're watching is the system itself changing from if we're remaining a planetary species and moving to be a multi-planetary species. So removing from one way of thinking to another way of thinking. Something because if we ever start going to Mars, the amount of minerals that we will unlock are tremendous. Now, if we going to go into full science fiction, but imagine we built a decent base in Mars and we still start going beyond Mars. Now we're going to unlock hydrocarbon stores in the solar system that are far beyond what we have on Earth. We're going to unlock nuclear power sources, solar power sources, geothermal sources, minerals that we don't have if we If the promise of helium-3 on the moon is verified, now we have fusion power. So the system is, I feel the system itself, our social system is morphing. We don't know where it's going to be, but we are in a similar transition as the one we were on the eve of the First World War. So if I were to tell another Lebanese, I was in Canada 6 months ago. Now I'm in Lebanon. Imagine I'm sitting with a Lebanese guy telling him in 1913 Beirut that the Ottomans will be gone within 7 years. The French will come and take over Beirut. They'll come by plane and they'll have tanks and they'll establish Greater Lebanon. This guy is going to go, you've been drinking too much.
Yeah.
Go take a pill, take a sleep pill, chill a
Yeah.
little bit. Within 7 years, this was all possible. Planes were in 1913, there were no planes. In 1917, there was an airbase in near Beirut, in Riyadh. In 1913, there were no tanks. In 1920, there were French tanks all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
The Ottoman Empire in 1913, some people, rich merchant families, had bought bonds from the Ottoman bonds, British Empire bonds, Austro-Hungarian bonds, Russian Empire bonds. Those were 100 years empires. And within 7 years, all those bonds were worth less than toilet paper. You imagine, we are at the
Yeah.
same juncture. We're in 2023. If we have this discussion in 2030,
Yeah.
I have no idea where we'll be. Or
That's
we'll
kind of
be a nuclear wasteland.
that too. But we won't be there. We'd be gone. You know, that's I like that. I like that idea. I mean, let's play with that. Where would what would the equivalent of that be? It would be in 2030. I mean, I don't know. Uh, the nation
It's
of
going to
Brit.
be maybe nuclear power plane.
But even that, I don't think is big enough. I don't think that's a big enough quantum leap. I think we'd have to say in 2030, the nation of nations of France, Germany, and Britain have all merged into one, and
Oh no, no, no,
South
no, no.
America has
That's
no. But in terms of just like equally just insane, right?
yeah, that's insane because French, Germany, and Britain putting them together. You know what the British call the French condoms, and the French call them capote anglaise. They hate each other. So
Hmm.
the same thing has is attributed to the other people.
Hmm. Well, I'm just trying to think what would be an equivalent of like 7 years Ottoman Empire gone. I don't know. I think if somebody from 2030 came back and said, uh, China's captured the moon, but don't worry, the United States and Russia have allied and they have a pretty strong base on Mars, so they're hoping to take back Earth. You'd be like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, it could be.
Right? But just
Yeah,
real enough.
yes,
Just real enough, right? You know, rockets
yeah,
aren't, they're
sounds
not
reasonable.
totally alien. 1913, well, the first flight was 1902. So it is 11 years of like, yeah, all right. It's kind of it's like a fun biplane thing. It's more of like
Oh,
an attraction.
here's a fun one. Imagine Chinese Elon Musk going, Mars is nice, but it's better to colonize Venus. And we
Yeah.
start terraforming it.
Yeah.
Remove the acid from the atmosphere, make it a nice, there'll be nice beaches and everything. Now that's, turn hell into paradise.
Have you ever heard of, and this is kind of completely unrelated, have you ever heard of the Daedalus, Daedalus, I think, the Daedalus rocket. It was a theoretical rocket.
Daedalus
Um,
project.
yeah,
Yes.
it's like the craziest thing that was never built. I'll pull it up. Daedalus.
Yes.
The Daedalus rocket.
Again.
It was
Yeah, why did they called it after the Minoan architect?
so the named after fucking I already did. Shut up, Wikipedia. Fuck off. Oh my God, what is this shit? The Greek blah 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 is an interstellar probe. It was a fusion rocket that would go travel 6 light years in 50 years. It would accelerate for 25 years and then it would turn around and decelerate for 50 or for 25 years. And it was like 4 times as tall as the Empire State Building. It was giant, but not only that, to provide the fuel for it, we were gonna have floating um floating mining like factories, I think on Venus or on Jupiter. to collect the materials needed to create the fusion fuel to then power the rocket that would get up to like 10% the speed of light. Where's that
Yeah,
thinking now?
I read somewhere about it. There's another one version where it would be powered by nuclear explosions. It would just throw the bomb
That's
behind
Orion.
it as like a
That's
giant.
Orion. That's Project
That's
Orion.
Orion.
It
Yes,
had a
the
giant
shockwave.
pushing plate where it would you'd nuke it
Yes.
and it would push. It was actually the most energy efficient way to get to it. I love Project Daedalus because it's even more batshit. Project
Oh
Orion
yeah, yeah.
was it was kind of theoretical.
I'm
Like, yeah, all
mixing
right,
them.
we could probably do it. Yeah, I think Kennedy scrapped it because well, the idea was that we wanted to build it, and then the Pentagon took it over, and they were like, well, what if we put it in orbit? And I think the original or the like the classified plan was they wanted to turn it into a nuclear battleship in orbit. And Kennedy was like, the
Oh yeah.
fuck is this shit? Like, can you stop for a second? Can we just stop trying to kill each other? And so they killed him naturally. But
Well, you don't need the nuclear battleship. You just have so many.
just
You just
hate,
have to map all the asteroids around us,
yeah,
and just have to deflect the
just not,
right one at the right moment, and you're fine.
yeah.
Well,
But
you're
even then,
fine. The other is not.
no. But even then, it's you think, man, that's a weapon system I often think about is I mean, talk about plausible deniability. Just nudging an asteroid using some
Hmm.
classified NASA program. Oh my God, I can't believe that hit Shanghai. Oh no.
And it's almost undetectable if you
Yeah.
are the because it's like very many of them. You just detect them with a few
Yeah. Just nudge them.
days delay, but then it's too late.
Oh my God, what happened? And you could even make you look like the good guys. You could like nudge a couple at China. You could nudge like three, and then like we could shoot down two of them and be like, we tried to save them all. That's some Machiavellian shit, man. But you got to imagine that. I mean, plausible
Hey, you're
deniability.
taking me there.
What's better than just a rock falling out of the sky? Oh my, it's not Black Ops where like we have to procure weapons from the former Soviet Union and then sell them to South America and then rebuy them through a shell company so that some mercenaries in Qatar can do something and they're not American. It's old AK-47s. It's untraceable, right?
Oh,
What would be better than just a fucking
just a
rock?
rock.
It's
Yes,
not some
and
Grumman missile. Oh my God, it's a fucking rock. God damn, how'd that happen? That's a shame. It hit Beijing right when
and
they
for a
invaded
modest
Taiwan.
fee, and for a modest fee will help you push it out of the way. You
Well,
know, if
yeah,
you want
or
to be Machiavellic,
no, it's small enough
but
that
I'm
it
more
take down the world. But
I'm more
if you,
optimistic.
we'll nudge it out of the way if you promise not to take Taiwan.
No, I'm more optimistic. We're going to go into space mining, and somebody will come up with $1 trillion asteroid full of titanium. Then we'll have a big deflationary crisis. I'll have
Yeah,
to find a way to absorb all this metal on Earth.
that would be fun. There's almost something kind of poetic about like, what if we find like an asteroid the size of Africa that's made out of gold? And we try to capture it, and then it plows into Earth and kills us all. There's something poetic about that, about like the greed of man killing us all. Some King
Or
Midas
gold. You
shit.
want gold? Or like, what's the name of this Roman emperor who tried to invade the Persians? And the Persians ended up, when he captured him, they poured gold into his mouth. They go,
Oh
"You
yeah,
want gold?"
yeah.
Was it
So like,
was it Crassus? I forgot.
yeah,
General, not an emperor. So yeah, it would be unfortunately some dark poetic justice.
yeah. You gotta
But
imagine
no, we can be optimistic. We're moving into something different. I don't know what it is. And what we're seeing now, maybe those last grasps of an old the reptilian brain, our collective reptilian brain going, not sure what to do. Oh,
that
there's
could
a
be it.
new lobe emerging.
That could be it. The man, I've often talked about like meditation and how I swear when you get really deep into meditation, I mean like really, it's hard to get to, but like and you can almost feel the reptilian brain like sinking away and you stop looking at things in terms of fear and resource scarcity and you just think about you do kind of think about like and I've been meditating for 15 plus years just kind of not to sound like an absolute fucking douchebag but like kind of higher minded ideas. I swear and I mean hand on my heart, you almost start to feel, and there's something I think it's called like nimitta or something. There's actually an Indian term for it that like ancient people would talk about If you get really deep into a meditation, you feel like a slight pressure on your forehead from the inside pushing out. And I wonder, is that like blood flow and nutrients?
Hang on, I'm gonna be
Quick.
back in a second.
Yeah, no worries. George Nasr leaving us. Clearly hates us. What's it? I think it's called Namitta. Namitta meditation. Nimit Nimitta. Yeah, it can. It's like I think it's mental. No, so these are bad, but it's like a pressure. And I don't think it's called Namitta. Maybe it's something else. I'm trying to find it. Pakakama.
I
But
just thought of it. This is the first. Usually, you leave people in midstream to go do an errand.
you go piss.
I had to open the door. That's why I disappeared.
Oh, dude, no, people leave all the time. I don't give a shit. Um,
No, I
no, but there's
apologize.
no, don't apologize. Never apologize to the crowd. Never cease control. Never. You don't apologize to a bunch of wild animals, right?
No,
You
no, I do apologize. It's
Hunter S. Thompson fears like an animal. Let it pull your chariot, but keep a 12 gauge trained at it in case it turns on you.
yeah, indeed.
Don't ever cede control to the audience. They're animals. Um, No, but there's something called Namit, and this has truly nothing to do with what you're talking about. But it roughly translates to like head pressure, and it's like pressure pushing outwards. And they say it's like your third eye opening up, or some new age shit, or not new age, old age. But I've wondered thought like right because so like the reptilian brain, and then like even below that, right? It's like just the brain stem. That's the core, right? Breathing, digestion, body temperature, hypothalamus. Then you have like reptilian, which is like fear and resource scarcity and like sexual attraction. And then you have these things overlapped, which are like higher and higher levels, almost like civilizations that are built on top of each other. You know, those excavations where they'll find like empires beneath each other. And then the neocortex, right? That's the very front. That's like the newest real estate is nimitta, which is this higher minded meditation where you're almost breaking contact with the old animal reptile brain and towards a newer frontier is nimitta, the head pressure. It's an idea I've been playing with since I started meditating. Is that are we truly feeling, when you work out and your arm hurts, well, that's muscle growth. You're feeling the breakdown and then the growth. You're
Yes.
pushing it, or you eat a lot of food over Thanksgiving break and your pants are a little tighter. That's because you're putting on an extra layer of food. Is nimitta blood, nutrients, oxygen, whatever, is it pushing your brain, even if just a couple cell layers denser? Are you pushing the evolutionary brain just like a millimeter forward? And you feel it as pressure. And over a million years, we might have like you said, are we slowly releasing the reptile brain? Is that how we see evolution? Do we become these, in a million years, is the average person as enlightened as Buddha? And it's just the natural end state as we move away from a resource scarcity kind of driven paradigm. Is that nimitta? Is that we're pushing it forward? Or is it just, am I inducing an aneurysm and I'm going to kill myself through meditation? It could be that too. I don't know.
Well, no, it could be in a way when we evolve, we have two ways. We can either evolve with greater capabilities, or if we get too comfortable with our system, decide to remain limited, we become like the dodo.
Mm,
It's so stupid. It's smart enough to live on a small island with no predators, but completely stupid to whenever there's a new event, it will come to basically they told that would come to its predator to be killed.
mm,
So if we keep challenging ourselves and we keep growing and we keep building the right systems, the same way with meditation, with anything, we will keep growing. Anyway, this is a phase we're passing through, but we will keep growing as a species. Otherwise, if we get too comfortable, oh, I just want to be this way and nothing else, then we could become the dodo, and then nothing will be left of us. And 100 million years later, new archaeologists may find something of us. and they wonder what happened to this. How did this species survive?
Seems to be a
Maybe.
universal constant where if you're not continually evolving and adapting and innovating, you will in time, maybe it's an hour, maybe it's 100 years, you will decay
Yeah,
and die. There seems to be no
exactly.
there seems to be no negotiating with that. It just, well, I want our society to just stop progressing and be happy. That's fine. That's fine. But eventually, some alien spacecraft's going to appear in the sky, and they're going to look at us the same way Cortez and a bunch of guns rolled up on the, what was it, the Incans or the Mayans or the Aztecs, and just like, yeah, we're going to fucking take over this entire place. And you're going to hope
Or
that they're as
maybe
nice
look
as
at us.
you.
No, they look at us like the dodo. Oh, nice birdie, boom, dead.
That's what I mean. They're gonna roll up there and be like, "Oh, cool." And they're gonna be like, "Hey, yeah, we're
Yeah,
like, hey, aliens. We're pretty peaceful. We stopped evolution around 2023. We've just been chilling for like 100 years. It's a party." They're gonna be like, "Cool, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking kill all of you." Be like, but you don't even need anything we have. And they'd be like, yeah, it's just kind of fun. Like, you don't know. Maybe that's just like the drunk. Maybe that's just like the son of an empire or the son of an emperor of some alien race. Him and his friends roll up in some UFOs and they're just on a joyride. They're out doing cocaine all night. They're
yeah.
like, yeah, let's go fuck up Earth. You know, like, it's the same as like hitting mailboxes with a baseball bat. You might just have some drunk guys come over in some faster than light warp drive and just be like, yo, let's go fucking blow up Manhattan. That'll be so fucking crazy. It might just be alien frat boys.
Well, it's bound to be. What I mean, it's almost bound to be because that's the way I see it. That's why that's why I looked at it the system versus outcome.
Yeah,
People focus on the simplest outcome without worrying about how to get there.
yeah,
They won't get the outcome that they want. They'll get something else.
yeah.
And now you just gave me the idea that they will get the dodo.
Hmm.
So you either become a soaring bird like bald eagle, or the poor dodo who is now museums,
Yeah, maybe.
taxidermy. So yeah, that's basically it. And that's I think we're watching it shift between those two schools of thought, and it seems as like the one who's talking the loudest is not the one setting the future agenda.
Hmm. Yeah,
The one focused on the machine, making sure everything works, is the one who will set up the agenda for the future.
yeah. They'll control it.
Yeah.
But hey, George, we got to wrap this up because I got another show in 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, you got another thing.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, man.
Well,
As
it was good
always, I
talking to you.
I always enjoy talking to you. It's always an honor to talk to a male model PhD like yourself. I think we all strive to be like you.
I try to be modest. I do my best.
Yeah,
What can I
but
say?
it's hard. It's hard though. You try to be modest, and
It's
then
hard.
you
It's
got
hard.
yourself in the mirror, and you're like, God damn, that's me. And I think we can all maybe
Yes,
try
exactly.
to be George one day. All right. Hey, guys, go in the
Have a good
description,
one.
go to his website, go to his Twitter. Please go follow him on Twitter. Go subscribe to his Rumble. I'll be
Have
able to
fun.
tell. I'll be able to tell if you subscribe to the Rumble or not. Because right now there's one subscriber and it's me. So I'll be able to fucking tell if you people subscribe or
And
not.
I'll see you back on Twitter. If they brought back Alex Jones, hopefully they should be able to bring you
They
back.
will not bring me back. They will not bring me back. I've already tried. I've
We'll have a
lied.
side bet.
Yeah, no, I've hoped they do. I've tried. I've lied to them. They're not Twitter, Reddit, YouTube, iTunes. They don't like me. So you know what? Fuck them. But
Nah, you'll be back on Twitter soon enough.
hopefully let's
I'll
go.
make a bet.
All right. All right. I'll bet you
All
will. All
right.
right. Let's do it. George, till next time, brother.
See
Thank you
you
so much for
soon.
your time. Guys, please go subscribe to his Rumble. Please go to his Twitter, all that good shit in the description. Till next time, George, thank you so much, brother.